right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another podcast of 905 and 808. I am Stamina, your host, and today I am more than excited to have my main man, Caj Flow, coming from Toronto, man. I had the pleasure to work with him, pleasure to talk to him and get to know him personally on a personal level. So not only is a great coworker or a great musician, man, he has a lot more to talk about, man. So I'm really excited to dig in this.
Thank you so much for having me, man. I'm glad to be here and excited to get started.
Yeah,
Thanks
man.
for the lovely intro too.
Yeah, of course, man. I gotta have a nice intro to my guests because
yeah. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, man. Bro, honestly, man, start off for anyone that doesn't know who Caj Flow, who's Caj Flow about? What do you talk about?
So who am I? I'd say I'm a bit of a lot of things. Mainly a producer, but I'm also an artist and a songwriter. So I've been involved in music for quite a while, like around 10 years since I've started making music. And I also work in the music business. So it's really a lot of things, but all music. Yeah.
Old music. What do you mean by old music?
Old music. Old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Full as a whole.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah.
So, okay, dope. And so right now, I know that you're currently producing more for artists. And so in terms of your projects, which one did you feel they were more successful, or which one did you like to work on more? Was there any preference, or did you
between my projects and other artists, or of my projects in general?
Of your projects in general, because I know you...
Oh yeah. So I mean, my most successful one was a song called Kerala. So
when I met you, what could I do except fall in love? Wanna get you, baby, I do, and I'm what you are. I could never describe the way I feel it. It's like it's stuck in my mind, you never leave me, baby.
So that one, I'll talk as if you didn't know, right? Because it's for a podcast. So that was essentially a song that I did last year. It's about my girlfriend who's from India. And essentially what happened is all my songs up to that one, I would put them out and I'd advertise them a bit and it would be okay, but it wouldn't be anything big. But for this one, what happened is I decided just for fun to try advertising in India to see if it made a change. And it actually really went crazy. So we got on a Spotify chart. And since then, actually, I built my fan base. And now most of my fans are from India, which is crazy to think, right? So yeah, that for sure, that was a lot of fun. And it was a great experience. I learned a lot about marketing as well. And yeah, that's my favorite song I've ever made too. So that was a great one.
Yeah,
man.
And man, that's dope, honestly, man. Kerala, honestly, you guys, that song actually did really well. And very interesting fact is that I know that personally because Caj told me, but he mixed that song. He mixed completely that song.
That's true.
In general, Caj actually mixes with 5-piece a lot. Both of them really work together. Actually, we're gonna have 5 coming on the podcast eventually as well. So
nice.
It'll be fun to
Actually, man, I don't even mix with 5-piece. I just give it to him to mix. And of course, he sends me, his mix, and I just do one revision. But I wouldn't say that I'm even mixing because I'm not. I just let him do it, and it's usually great. But yeah, this song, because again, I don't want to say it was a throwaway song, but it was just at the time, I think I didn't have the funding yet from Factor. And I was just trying to save costs. So I was all right, I'm just going to mix this one because I don't think it's going to do anything big anyway. And then it ended up doing all that. So yeah, that was funny.
And so what is Factor? Can you explain for anyone that's watching, what is Factor doing and where does the funding comes from?
Sure thing. So yeah, so Factor stands for the Foundation Assisting Canadian Talent on Recordings. So what it is, it's an organization that gets money both from the government through something called the Canada Music Fund and from Canada's private radio broadcasters. And essentially the mission of this organization is to give money to musicians and music companies for their projects. So of course there's an application program. It's not like anyone can just go and get money like that. But what you do is you'll apply with a song and there's a jury. They evaluate your marketing plan and your song. And if they like it enough, like if it scores high enough, then you can actually get some money. So there's various programs, but yeah, that's the essential one for artists is the artist development program, which is what I did. And I got $2,000 from that. And that was really helpful, obviously, because a lot of that money I used for the promotion for Kerala.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
and it's money like you're not using out of pocket from like any other sources. It's strictly for music, which is great, right?
Yeah. So actually, yeah, you do have to use a little bit out of pocket because they usually fund 75% of your expenses.
Okay, I see.
So if they give you 2,000, you have to show that you spent 2,667. So basically, you're spending $600 out of your pocket, and you have 2,000 that comes for free.
Okay.
Yeah,
that is pretty good. That is pretty good.
Yeah, man. They have another program too called juried sound recording, and that's for a full album. And they actually give you $67,000, and you have to spend 90,000. Yeah, it's crazy. It's wild. Yeah.
For big time spenders, man.
Yeah,
Jury
man.
sounding.
Yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, man, in the music industry, like if you have funds, like you can get projects with like higher quality. I mean, higher quality is relative because as we know, like music is really subjective. But once you have funds, you can really get a good engineer to mix or master. You could access to studios. You can access to producers, depending on what you want to do, really. But and also marketing. Also, man, marketing is probably the best and most important part, actually.
Yeah.
Because music is literally like 30% of like creating like the artist profile. You got to build the brand, you got to build the image, you got to market everywhere.
I mean, if I'm thinking about it, like if you take just $1,000, if I had put 1,000 into a mix for Kerala versus 1,000 for the marketing, I think the marketing was more effective, in terms of building a fan base, right? And an audience and all that. So yeah, for sure, man.
Mm-hmm. And so how do you engage with your audience in that sense? Like, so you got your music out to Kerala in India for your track. And then how do you maintain and like keep them engaged to get them like as a solid like fan base?
So one thing that I do first and foremost is I post a lot. So Instagram is my main platform, right? I don't use the others as much as I should, but I should. But I post, always on my story. There's always something going on. And I do a lot of Q&As and just a lot of content that shows that I'm a normal person. Because that's just my own like personality. Like as an artist, I don't want to be the kind of artist that's like super huge and extravagant kind of thing. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad for anyone to do that, but it doesn't go with my personality.
Okay.
I'd rather be more kind of like open and just relatable, normal person kind of vibe of artist. And I think a lot of people really like that. Another thing too is that I respond to everything, like literally every single DM I respond to every comment, all my posts. Like this Kerala post, I had like 900 comments. I responded to every comment.
Wow.
I give everyone my number if they ask for it, and then people message me on WhatsApp, whatever. I try to communicate with everyone. And the thing is, just because I like personally interacting with people, so it's fun for me to get to know people and I'm learning a lot. But I find that in terms of building a fan base, people really, really like that because now it's like, oh, it's Caj. It's like almost like my friend, and people want to support their friends like that. So that's cool. That's worked for me so far. There is a point though, of course, where it's like, if you have, like I have like 3,000 followers on Instagram, so it's okay. But if I had like 100,000, I wouldn't be able to do that, obviously, right? Because I can't respond to 100 messages per day, right?
Yeah, that would be like nuts.
10 or 15. But I can't do 100 or 200 messages per day. So I'll probably have to adjust at some point. But for now, I'm happy to do it like that. It works and I'm happy and the people that I'm talking to are happy. So yeah.
That's dope, man. That's really good, honestly, like to get them engaged and like get to know them. You can even get to know them a little bit personally. Like,
literally, man, for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. Because in the previous podcast with, in general, my guest, I've been talking a lot about relationships and how it is important, and also have to get a really good support group. So like your friends, your family, like anyone that really supports you, like to the full, to the best. Because 100%. As you know, it's really tough in the music industry, and sometimes, and you're sharing your personal stories. You're showing something that comes from the heart, something you worked hard for. You put a lot of time. So, man, like, I wanted to ask you, like, how do you handle that? And, like, what, like, gets you, like, going and maintain your composure whenever, like, times are rough? Or
At that point, I think I just remind myself of why I started doing music in the first place. When I started making music, it wasn't to be famous or to be financially successful with it. It was just because I enjoyed it, right? It was fun for me to just make those beats and turn them into songs. I remember my most motivating moment that I've ever had in all of music, like in my whole music career so far. Actually, it wasn't this whole thing with Kerala. That's probably my number 2. My most motivating moment was the first time that a rapper used one of my beats when I was like 12 or 13. It was an American.
Wow.
And at the time, I still lived in Europe, right? And I remember I literally just, I messaged him on YouTube, like I commented on his thing. I was like, check out my beat, and you can use it. And he did it, and he made a song, and I think it's still on YouTube, which is crazy. And so for me, that, I remind myself of these kinds of moments. And then I just, I dive into making a new track, and I'm just trying to enjoy it, right? I'm just trying to do stuff that I like. And that's what keeps me motivated, for sure.
And when
it's really just enjoying it. Yeah, sorry?
No, go ahead. Sorry, man. I want to cut you off.
I was just saying, like, it's just doing music that I love. That's what keeps me motivated.
All right. Bless. Yeah. And what inspires you? Because sometimes, like, we'll create songs that are, more like melancholic or more like a little sad, more happy, or more dark. Like, what like inspires you? Is it the moment? Is it like an event that happened to you? Is it the people that you're around with?
Yeah, typically, most of the time, I do it based on what I'm going through at the moment. Now, occasionally there are some songs where I'll make something about a theme, and I'm not necessarily feeling like it like right now, but it is something that I've experienced. Or very occasionally, if it's someone that I know that I'm close to who's experienced, and I kind of like have this empathy thing, you know what I mean? But although most of the time it's really mostly about my own life. But it's really just events or the vibes that I'm getting from people, like that. If it's good vibes, then I'm happy, or if it's negative vibes, then I'm feeling negative. Yeah, it's really, that's why it's very personal. That's another thing too that I think the people who listen to me do enjoy, is that when they listen to the lyrics, for example, they're like, oh man, he says stuff that's relatable. And it's because I'm not trying to like say, something that's, I'm not trying to push whatever messages. I'm really just stating like my truth.
Yeah.
And, for the people that are living through similar things, they really connect with that because they understand that it's authentic.
And which is very important, like, to be genuine, because man, like, you're only one person in your world. Like, who's gonna be you? Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's just like, you just gotta be genuine. Like, and then you'll have genuine people around you as well. Like, you'll actually have like people and like support. Well, that's good, man. Honestly, that's the way to go. But so now I wanted to ask you, what are your like music inspiration or aspirations that motivated you to be in the game, or like to produce certain genres? Or
good question. So I've had an evolution in music over the years. So when I got started, I only listened to hip hop music. For me, it was like those trap producers from like 2010, like Zaytoven. I mean, he's still there, but like at the time, he was
Zaytoven's fire, man.
Zaytoven, Lex Luger. I'm trying to, like, these kinds of guys. There's like trap, this kind of stuff.
808 Mafia, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. These kinds of producers. Sony Digital, like these guys. That's what, when I started like with FL Studio and stuff, I really liked that kind of music. And then over time, I got more into pop music as well. And with that, it was more about the songwriting rather than the production. And for songwriting, I'm thinking more people like Max Martin. He's like the big king of pop music since like the late 90s. But then some contemporary people too, like Julia Michaels. And right now, I really like this guy called Lauv, and another one called Jeremy Zucker. Like, these are probably like my inspirations like right now, for pop. So yeah, but otherwise, so these are my inspirations, but they're not necessarily my favorites, if that makes sense. Like, my favorite artists aren't necessarily people that inspire me. Like, for me, Dr. Dre, one of my favorites. 50 Cent, one of my favorite rappers, at least back in the day. Timberlake and Timbaland as a duo, my favorites. Even if I don't try to make the same music as them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that.
But they're probably like my favorite artists or producers or whatever. Yeah, I love these guys, man.
From what I've heard, you really like to be in that pop area, that pop genre, right?
Yeah,
that's the movement that you wanted to go into.
Yeah.
What about EDM, actually, electronic music, which is something that's getting really popular and it's been really popular for a while, actually.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm from Europe, so I grew up with EDM. That's the stuff. I grew up only listening, like wanting to listen to hip hop, but everywhere around me, all my friends in school, it was only EDM. Like, you know, here we're in Toronto, everyone listens to like, you know, the 6 Buzz playlists and all that, like it's all hip hop stuff, right?
Yeah.
In Switzerland, it was only like EDM. Like everyone was only playing EDM, at school. So, I mean, I like EDM. I don't listen to like, I'm just not as knowledgeable because it's such a huge genre. There's like millions of DJs and producers in that space that it's hard for me to, you know, get into all of it. But I mean, you know, when I hear it, there are some that I like. Like, I mean, I love Avicii was one of my favorite EDM guys, right? Because I love how he was collaborating with pop people and he was doing really great crossover songs, right? Because I know there's a lot of DJs that do collab with pop artists, but most of the time it's too much in one direction, I find. But I thought he was great at really combining both. So yeah, I like EDM, man. But I don't do EDM. It's a very different type of production. I never even really tried. Like I could try, but I think it would take time to be good at it.
Yeah, true. I would say like you probably would need someone who's already in that genre that knows like how to structure it, how to mix it. It's a whole different game. There's just so many different sounds, right?
I mean, all the side chaining effects and all that stuff. It's complicated.
Yeah, the side chain.
Much harder to do an EDM beat than like a hip hop beat for sure, or than a pop beat.
100%. Man, that's dope, bro. And actually, you know what? I wanted to talk to you about one of your songs that you talk about mental health. So yeah, man, tell us a little bit more about it because I think a lot of people could relate to it, and I think it's one of my favorite songs from your tracks.
Dead Inside, right?
Yeah.
Here we go again. It's no surprise. Another day, another week just went by, and I know in my head something ain't right. Got everything, but I'm still dead inside. Here we go again. No, it's no surprise. Another day, another week just went by, and I know in my head something ain't right. Got everything, but I'm still dead inside.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you, man. I didn't know that.
It's because of the message. The production is dope, but the message is like, all right.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, man, February was a garbage month for me. I was just like, it's, you know, one of these times when you're just, and it's over a constant period. That's the part too that hit me, was that it was over like 2 or 3 weeks. It wasn't just one day, but for 2 or 3 weeks, I was just, you know, that was before the lockdown. I was getting up, going to my job, which I didn't enjoy that much. The commute was long. I was tired all the time. And I was just coming back home and I wasn't inspired. And I was kind of sad. So I was sad every day. And then I kept trying to rationalize in my head. I was like, oh my God, I have a loving girlfriend, a loving family. I'm not homeless, you know, like I'm okay financially. I have all the things that I should be happy and grateful about. And I am grateful. But for some reason, I still feel empty and sad. And I was kicking myself about that. I was like I shouldn't be allowed to feel sad if I have all these things that I should be happy about, right?
Yeah.
And so, that's literally the lyrics of the song. It's like, got everything, but I still feel dead inside because I'm like, damn, you know, I've got all these things, but I'm just so sad. So yeah, that was really, this is a true story, that song. Really, February was awful for me. And then I got better, but yeah, had a tough time.
Oh man. I'm glad to hear that you're doing better, man. And so actually, like, how did you get better through that period? I think it'll be interesting to share if you're okay with that.
Yeah, honestly, there isn't one thing. It was just, for some reason, I just eventually did. I mean, I think changing jobs, that helped, because I did change jobs like soon after. Like I made the song in mid-February, I think. And a week later, I applied for that job. And a week after that, I got my interview. And then after that, you know, I I was thinking, oh, I'm going to get this job. And I got more optimistic. And that helped me kind of, be okay with still being in that job until I had the switch. So that's probably actually the biggest part of it is that. And then, afterwards when the virus, like the lockdown and all that stuff started, then obviously I was still sad, but it also gave me something else to worry about, because it was right when it started. For the first 2 or 3 weeks, we were all in damage control mode, right? Now we got used to it and now we're bored. But the first month or so, we were all just like, oh my God, it was something new. And it kind of took our mind away from other stuff.
Right.
So in a way, the lockdown maybe helped, but only for the first month. Now, obviously, I wish the lockdown ended, but yeah.
Yeah, I know, man. And like, honestly, like just being home for such a long period of time and not seeing the people that you actually want to. I'm not sure if you saw like any, like your girlfriend, let's say, or like any of your other friends. Like,
I've seen no one since this whole thing started, which is crazy, right? But yeah, it's been 3 months, man. I think 3 months, right?
Yeah, it's been a while, man. It's been a while.
It's insane, man.
Have you been producing all this time, man, during the quarantine? Like,
I have. Yeah, I have. But to be honest, man, like I said, because I base so much of this stuff on like my life and my feelings, and right now there's just not much happening. So I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm bored, but it's just I'm not making music with a lot of intent right now. Because most of the time it's like I'm feeling something. Like for that Dead Inside song, I was like, man, I'm depressed, and then I was like making music about it. Right? Like I had the intention of it. But right now, because I'm not really feeling anything, I kind of do some beats just here and there, but I'm not like, there isn't a sense of purpose. So it's much more boring. It's less fun. Yeah.
I see. Like,
yeah, man.
The thing that really drives you is when like there's an event and like there's that purpose, that energy that connects to you.
Exactly.
But when nothing really happens, like you're not.
Yeah,
like,
then it's just like, like for instance, I don't know if we're working together. It's like, okay, I'm working on Stamina's album, and then you tell me, and you're telling me how you feel, and then we're making music with an intent. We're trying to do something. And then for my own songs, it's the same. It's like if I'm feeling some type of way, I already know what kind of music I'm making. But right now, there's no purpose, so it's just like I'm making beats just like that, but it's not so much fun.
I see.
Yeah.
Man, yeah. Funny that you mentioned that. The audience doesn't know yet, but I've been collaborating with Caj for literally, I think the entire album.
Yeah,
the entire album's gonna be with Caj, and honestly, man, the production's dope. There's a lot of different mood and vibes into it. One thing that I love being around Caj is that we work so efficiently. It's almost like we're in sync. When I talk to him, I have an idea, like you'll get into it. And honestly, man, having a person like this in the production or in the music world is just unimaginable. Like, this is amazing, honestly. Really appreciate you, bro. For real.
I appreciate you too, man. Thank you for the kind words. For sure, it's good to have a partnership like that where we can just, get in the lab and just start working immediately. And after 2 hours, we have something, right?
Yeah, we have something, not just like a rough draft, like an actual composition, literally, almost from start to end, which is
man. I like to work
crazy.
Fast. In general, I like to work fast because I don't want to waste people's time, right? Like if you come here, I don't want to have you sitting here for like 8 hours and nothing's done. That would suck.
Oh, nah. Right? Yeah, hell no.
Yeah, but I hear a lot of stories of people doing sessions like that, and I'm just like, man, I'm horrified. Like, and I'm putting myself here in the position of the artist now. If I'm an artist and I'm working with a producer, I would hate to be in a room for 8 hours and there's nothing, right?
Yeah, it would be draining, man. Like draining, just time is very valuable. So
it
you know
is,
that.
Man. Especially here in Canada, all the commutes are so long. So,
Toronto, one of the worst commuting places to be at.
Yeah,
just
man.
It's just so big. There's just so many people. And the transit is not like on point, but oh well.
It's definitely not. Yeah.
But talking about Toronto, man, like what do you think about the Toronto music scene, and how do you feel like it's happening? What's happening? What do you think is happening right now?
Well, right now, so we had this shooting of Houdini like 2 days ago or yesterday, which is a tragedy.
News, man.
And with that, man, I want to say I'm just it's disappointing. I think that with the amount of talent that we have, there should be more of a collaborative vibe rather than so much jealousy. And I don't know what else it is, you know. I think part of it might be because we're in Canada, not the US. There's possibly this mentality that like, oh, there's only space for one big person from Canada to make it, and then they go to America kind of thing. Like that's what I'm imagining. I don't know if that's really what's driving this mentality, but I feel like it could be that. So it's overall, I mean, I love Toronto, man. It's my home, and I love the musicians that I know here. And there is, you know, there is collaboration, and there are great events and things like that. But I think that we haven't reached our potential as a city. We're very far from our potential. I think we could be much bigger than that. And I think we'll get there, but we have to get past this jealousy mindset or whatever it is.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, very true, man. Like if the artists, it's not just the artists, it's like everyone in the city needs to support each other, honestly. Yeah, man. Like if that would happen, like there's so many talent in Toronto, man. It's insane. There's so many like really good people out here, but not a lot of people are like going far, because if you actually think about it, man, let's talk about the on show, the main man, Drizzy. Actually, he didn't get big from Toronto. He got big from going outside the city.
Yeah,
and then Toronto rode the wave back, which is insane. That is
true, man. And to be honest, too, like thinking of music genres here, like Toronto, and I love hip hop. It's my first love in music, so I'm not going to knock on hip hop. But I will say Toronto, I think, is a very, very hip hop city, right?
Yes.
And if you're not trying to make that kind of music, it may be a little more like harder to pierce through. So for me, again, taking this whole Kerala example, I look at my stats every day because I love just studying data in general. Right?
Yeah.
I see my hip hop oriented songs do the best here, and my pop oriented songs do the best in other countries, right? In India, Philippines, Brazil, but not in Canada. Well, specifically not in Toronto. And it's you know, even if I try advertising, it's just people here just don't like it, right?
True.
Yeah.
True.
Seriously. So like Dead Inside is my biggest city is Toronto, right?
Yeah.
But then, you know, Butterflies, my last track, which is a pop track, I think Toronto's like the 12th city.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
yeah. I do feel like in Toronto, like, man, when you walk around, like you'll hear like rap music more than EDM or any kind of music.
Oh yeah,
just walking around the city.
Man. Yeah, it's a hip hop city.
Definitely a hip hop culture.
Like there are other genres, of course, because it's such a diverse city. But the infrastructure here is mostly hip hop.
Yeah,
you know? Like the events, the big stuff that's happening, it's all hip hop events mostly. I think. To be honest. Yeah.
And then it's funny you mentioned that too, because Veld, big event in Toronto actually. They get DJs, they get rappers, a lot of hip hop artists. So it's a really nice mix of hip hop and electronic music. But it's not just about electronic music. There's a couple, like Electric Island. There's also Digital Dreams, and there's few more. Like there's a whole bunch, but there's a lot of show of hip hop actually coming here, and a lot of artists like coming from the States. They love coming here actually to perform. Because they see like the city really likes the hip hop vibes and.
Oh yeah, man! This is a great hip hop city. Well, I mean, one of the best in North America for hip hop, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, there's what like LA, New York, Chicago, Atlanta, and Toronto.
Yeah.
Right.
That's very true, man. But yeah, man. My man, is there anything else that you wanted to say or talk about? Do you have like future projects or videos that you're working on?
So yeah, I'll just say here that, you know, I'm still working on music, obviously. I do have a new song coming out in June. It's actually a collaboration with some people that I haven't even met them. They're from India.
Nice.
They found me from that Kerala song, and it's actually kind of an EDM song. It's actually funny. We talk about EDM, and yeah, so they are an EDM duo.
Yeah. And
we produced the track together. Like I just did the chords, and then they did like all the EDM production stuff. And I'm singing on it, and yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one.
Dude, that's dope, man.
Yeah, man. I'm just excited to try branch out, and I think for the rest of the year, I'm gonna try to do more like collaborative tracks.
Okay.
Right, where like I'll collab with someone who does something very different from what I do. So like these EDM guys, for example, just to kind of diversify the portfolio even more.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's kind of my goal, I guess. I had some other goals, but everything is just swept away with the virus. As is the case for everybody else too, I think. So I think, yeah, we just need to keep following the rules, and hopefully this whole thing ends soon.
Yeah,
How
man.
long do you think it's gonna last?
Honestly, man, I think we will in July, like there's gonna be like some good hope. Like there's gonna be like more things open, or I think the optimism is gonna be like up there. But we'll see, man.
So,
honestly, like it's something that, you know, when I walk around, a lot of people like they're not necessarily like respecting the rules that much into it. I feel like people are more at ease.
Did you see Trinity Bellwoods?
Trinity Bells, oh my goodness, man.
Yeah.
What was that? What was
so
that?
stupid, man.
That was ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to see your friends, but like, what was the point of bringing the
entire
mass,
like,
the entire city?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell was that?
That was insane,
ridiculous, man.
Yeah. Man, I am worried though about like, you know, bankruptcies and things like that for all the small businesses.
Dude,
I mean,
so
every day I'm
bankruptcies.
seeing all these restaurants, you know, that are closing. It's a shame, man. Yeah. And I wonder what life is going to look like afterwards too.
Yeah, I think bars and clubs are going to have a long time before like being profitable and like being in the industry. It's going to be, I think, man, like you'll got to have like a patio bar, like a lot of space.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be weird, man. Like, you're going to go to a bar and then like people are just going to be like so far apart. Like,
yeah, man.
I don't know how they're going to do
I'm
that.
also thinking just even like traveling in general. Like, I mean, now that everyone's using Zoom. Everyone's using Zoom now. So it's like, are people even going to travel anymore? I don't know. Like there's all these music conferences that are happening online like this now.
Damn.
Right? Yeah, it's crazy. So I don't know what's the future's going to look like, man. The last thing I want to say is, for everyone who's listening who may be feeling a bit sad by this whole situation, is I always tell myself that this is possibly the most challenging time that we'll ever face in our life. I don't want to say it's likely, but it's possible, right? Because, I mean, since World War II, has there ever been like so much like mobilization of the entire world to do something? There hasn't been, right? So if we're lucky, this is our big event of our lifetime, and nothing like this will happen again. That's
true, man. And that's why you want to stay positive. You want to learn as much. You want to grow as much as you can during this period, because a lot of time, man. You have a lot of time. We're not going anywhere. So use the best time to like, you know, start creating your project. Maybe find another passion, or like think about like other stuff that you really want to do in the future. Like, it's the best time, man. Sit down and really think.
Definitely. That's the only thing we can do right now, is just sit and think.
Sit, think, do stuff, create stuff, whatever you got to do, man.
Yeah, definitely, man.
But yeah, man, that's it for me. And I'm going to link all the social media platforms, everything that Caj has been working on down below on the podcast. And again, I am really happy to have you on the podcast, and I really appreciate for you coming here, man.
Thanks for having me, man. It's been a pleasure. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, hopefully, man, we'll work soon on and finish up the album together.
Yes, super excited for that. Creating with intent.
Yes, sir.
Yes, cool.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for watching. Again, this is Stamina, your host for 905 and 808, coming from TBH Media. And I wish you all the best, man. Stay beautiful, stay blessed. Please comment down below what you think of that episode. What should I take next? Who should I interview next? And let me know. Yeah, man. Subscribe, share the love, get the likes going, man. Let's get it.
Love it.
Easy.
All right.
Bye. Take care, Caj.
You too, man. Catch you later.
I don't get to see you anymore ever since you've gone. feel I'm gonna miss you, babe. The memories, they get to me. You got me wishing for getting back what we had before. You said to me, you never